What's going on? It's your boy Sermon at Sermon's Domain on Twitter. Welcome to another edition of Sunday Sermons, your weekly hip-hop and occasionally R&B recap. Let's get right into things. Just Blaze is going to be a huge part of Snoop Dogg's upcoming album. The album was first revealed on Instagram. Snoop Dogg had posted a teaser of a beat that Just Blaze was doing for him, and Nipsey Hussle is supposedly featured on the record. And just last week, he did an interview with Billboard, Just Blaze did, and he revealed that he's on the album multiple times. They've worked extensively. Just was talking about how he's been a fan of Snoop Dogg's like experimental phase. You know, the Reincarnated, the Snoop Lion album, Bush, where he's mostly singing, and even, you know, Mac and Devin Go to High School was a totally different vibe for Snoop Dogg. So Just was saying he's a fan of that, but he's also excited for Snoop to really get back into that gangster rap. I don't care if Snoop Dogg is 45, 55, 65, 75. If Snoop Dogg is still making good gangster rap music, I am always going to be open to listen. And I think that's one of his strong points. I think he doesn't get enough credit for that side. And that's mainly because he's kind of like sheltered that side. And when he does do that side, he doesn't really have like a huge hit with it. You know, a lot of, like, you look at Snoop Dogg's last decade or so, and some of his biggest singles were not, you know, gangster rap. And a lot of people, when they talk about Snoop's gangster side, they talk about Doggy Style, but they don't look at, like, the R&B album, the Red Carpet, or the Blue Carpet, excuse me, and, you know, they don't look at, like, the stuff he's done post-Doggy Style. He's done a lot of good albums since then, and, you know, as much credit as he does get, he also doesn't get credit in the same way. It's weird to think about that. Like, Snoop Dogg is a pioneer. He's a legend. He gets the credit he deserves for just being an overall legend. But I don't think musically, at least today, he's appreciated as much as he should have. Bush was one of the best albums that I heard in 2015. But going back to this album, it's supposedly coming out in July. That's what Snoop said. And with Just Blaze on it, I'm looking a lot forward to the album, just to hear all the different sounds. Whenever you have Just Blaze, you know it's going to be a must listen because those beats are going to be ridiculous. And if Just Blaze is so excited for Snoop Dogg's gangster rap return, then you know he's going to craft some really good beats. So more information will be coming out about the album in the coming months. Hopefully it still sticks to that July. In other news, Lloyd has returned to music. You might be saying to yourself, where has Lloyd been? It's been 4 years since King of Hearts. And Lloyd House responded with, hey, I'm right here. A new single on iTunes appeared on Friday, and it's called True. It's produced by J.U.S.T.I.C.E. And basically the song is an open letter to the fans. This is what I've been going through. This is what has happened. And I hope you still support me. We're going to start this thing over again. That's basically what the single is. I think it's a warm-up single. It's not really anything that'll be on an album. But it's something for the fans to let them know, like, you know, I had to get rid of my old team to find myself musically again and start fresh and get a new team. And I think what he was referring to was getting rid of Interscope and Zone 4, which he was signed to for his last album. And I'm sure that's no easy task. Leaving a major label like that is not going to be simple. So that explains the long wait in between getting some new Lloyd music. The last time he put out a project, I believe it was 2013, but he might have snuck in like a little mixtape in 2014. I can't really recall, but it has been a while since we got a Lloyd album, and I think that's where the people want to see. And the single is really good. He hasn't lost a step at all, so I welcome new Lloyd music this year. Hopefully an album, maybe in the fall, in the winter, whenever he can squeeze the album out, we're ready for it. Speaking of albums, Freddie Gibbs and Madlib are following up their 2014 Pinata album with a sophomore album titled, wait for it, Bandana. The news came out through an interview with Red Bull Academy. Madlib was talking about you know, working with Freddie Gibbs, and said that they're working on this Bandana album together. And another interesting thing that came out of that interview was how he said that Kanye West kind of slept on a lot of the beats that Madlib had sent him, and those beats have now been destroyed by Gibbs. You know, Gibbs is a beast when it comes to anything he does. So Gibbs getting on these beats may be the better take, because Kanye doesn't put out music as frequent as Freddie Gibbs does. Freddie Gibbs tries to get a project or two a year, and you know, Kanye is, you know, he's here, he's there, he's everywhere. Sometimes he'll drop an album here, he'll drop one the next year, but then he'll go ghost for like 3 years. You just never know with Kanye. So it's probably in better interest if those beats go to Gibbs so he can use them, especially for the Bandana album. There's no release date, there's no further information, no guest features, no nothing listed, talked about at all. And I'm sure they're probably just in the beginning stages of the project. And I think the hype alone is enough to get people excited, because Pinata was one of those albums in 2014 that was just so memorable for their chemistry, and them coming back together is a good thing for hip hop. And if we get the album this year, it'll be great. If we get it next year, it'll still be great. The year after, it'll be great. You know, it's just gonna be a strong album, I'm sure. The chemistry is undeniable between the two. Our final piece of news comes from a Hot 97 interview with Birdman. Birdman says that he is not responsible for the delay of the Carter 5. His exact quote is, "I think it's more of a misunderstanding than money issue. If you knew me, you'd know I always gave Wayne anything and everything he always wanted. Our train is still moving. Drake just put out an album. Nicki is in the studio. The train's still moving. I think it's a lot of misunderstanding, and me and him talk, but you'd best believe that the situation is going to work itself out." The situation is going to work itself out. That line sticks out because Wayne has a $50 million lawsuit on the man. How is that going to work itself out? The only way it works itself out is if Birdman pays Wayne exactly what he's owed. And even then, I don't see Lil Wayne staying on Cash Money. I just can't see it. After all the bad business that's happened over the years, not just to Wayne, but to BG and Juvenile and Manny Fresh, you know, everybody that's on Cash Money probably has some kind of, you know, story that they could tell about, you know, money issues here or there, or, you know, just being on the shelf. I mean, Cash Money is notorious for signing artists, and they sitting there. And I think Birdman understands that once this lawsuit is over with, it's done with, it's resolved, Wayne is going to leave the label. He's going to find some way to leave Cash Money. And Birdman has probably, in his mind, accepted that. And that's why he's kind of moving on. You see him putting on new artists for the new generation of Cash Money. You know, Jacquees, J Soul, Rollo, a bunch of artists. You know, Kasky is still there and slowly being pushed. So there's a lot of, you know, moving forward for Birdman. But at the same time, Birdman could be telling the truth. Here's the scenario. When Lil Wayne said that Birdman was holding his album hostage at the end of 2014, he was probably 100% right. Fast forward to 2016, maybe Birdman is like, yo, you could put out the album, and, you know, we could do that. But at this stage, after this big lawsuit is still impending, why would Wayne want to put out the Carter 5? Maybe Birdman is saying, yeah, you could put out the Carter 5 whenever you want. But Wayne is like, you know, why would I put out an album through a label that screwed me over so many times? And it's a perfectly reasonable explanation. So, in that regard, Birdman could be telling the truth. But who knows? We don't know the situation all the way, and we probably never will. We just know that the Carter 5 is one day going to show up. It's going to happen at some point in life or whatever, hopefully. And I really do hope that lawsuit gets resolved, because I think it's really taking a toll on Lil Wayne's career. You know, he could still be, he's still a big name, but he could still be bigger if he was able to do what he wants creatively. And I think that comes with branching out Young Money from Cash Money, and then, you know, signing some kind of a distribution deal and really getting the artists that are there, you know, going and pushing. Wayne could still do arena tours. Wayne should do that. push the artist. I don't know, but it's a long situation, complicated. You could do all kinds of things with Young Money to improve it, but you know, the fact is the Carter 5 is still not here. The lawsuit is still there, and Birdman is still just as in denial as he ever has been with his relationship with Lil Wayne. And that concludes this week's edition of Sunday Sermons. You know, let me know what you think about this news. Lloyd returning, Freddie Gibbs and Madlib doing another album together, Birdman's Hot 97 interview, and Just Blaze being on Snoop Dogg's upcoming album. What do you think about all that stuff? Talk to me in the comment section below. And then like the video, subscribe to the channel if you're not already, share the video. Follow me on Twitter at SermonsDomain. And as always, thank you for your time. I appreciate you for watching. And until next time, peace.